seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President,
All right. This morning, we are very, very pleased to have Rabbi Mendy Rivkin from Chabad Lubavitch of Towson in Towson, Maryland, guest of the Senator from District 42. Members, please rise for the invocation.
Good morning, honorary senators and staff. Today is Tuesday, and we find ourselves in the week where we just learned about God giving the Torah to the Jewish people. This is over 3,000 years ago, but this is a very seminal point, and our sages teach us that this specifically invokes the concept of, while people can do a certain amount on their own, this invokes the concept that God came down on high and gave a helping hand to the Jewish people about how to live their lives, both morally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, and the other aspects. I think this is an important lesson, something we have to take from. There are obviously two aspects to this. When God comes down and gives the person a helping hand, it is incumbent on the person to take that helping hand and make it work for themselves. However, it is also incumbent upon God to make sure that this helping hand he gives them is in a way that the person can receive, in a way the person can make something of. When we look at the body, when we look at the body I'm addressing now, this is something you guys are also doing. We live in a society where sometimes people feel that there's two approaches, either the approach where we can reach down and help people up, or we can expect people to make something of themselves and get out of the way. And we sometimes feel that they're a contradiction. The reality is that that's not true. The reality is that when we reach down and try and help people, when we reach over and try to help people, it's incumbent that we do it in such a way that they're willing and able to accept it, and that they can in turn use their own efforts and get further than they would on their own. For if we would reach down and help them in a way that they wouldn't be willing to accept, that would go nowhere. And if we would rely on people simply to their own devices and not allow them the communal help and support, they would also be limited in how far they can get. Therefore, it's incumbent on us, especially this body that stands in a position to help people in a variety of ways, that we do it, we be humble enough to understand that while we need to help people and help people get up and get further, we also must do it in a way that allows for them to appreciate it and accept it and take it much further than they could on their own go. I therefore would like to leave you guys with a blessing and a prayer that when we approach this work, we should be humble and understand that when we're sitting in a position to help other people, we must realize that it's not for ourselves, we're doing it for them. And with a blessing that God should bless you, both in your own personal situations as well as in your holy communal work, that you should have success in all your endeavors, because when the multitude is dependent on you, God automatically helps steer your hand. Amen.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. That was wonderful. Thank you. Chair recognizes the Senator from the 42nd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was Rabbi Mendy Rivkin, who is the rabbi at the Chabad Jewish Center of Towson. He's been in that capacity since 2008. The center adjoins the Towson University campus, and in his capacity as the rabbi, Rabbi Rivkin helps Towson and Goucher Jewish students learn about Jewish history and culture, as he just informed us about Jewish history and culture moments ago. He helps them participate in Sabbath services and observe holidays. Mr. President, I move we journalize his terrific prayer.
Thank you so much, Senator. And without objection, we will most certainly journalize the rabbi's remarks and invocation this morning. It was very thoughtful and certainly something we'll be thinking about throughout the day. Thank you. And week ahead. All right, Senators, has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? If so, Chair of Judicial Proceedings, recording presence in... All right, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. Any announcements? General remarks? All right. Senators, we did start a little bit late today. It was less, not the testing side. I do want to say from initial reports, it looks like things were a lot more effective today, and there were some kinks worked out, and it was a lot faster. So appreciate everyone working through it with us, and I think we've got our systems in better operational order. Appreciate the Department of Health and the work that they did to help kind of make things more efficient this week. So thank you for understanding last week and the improvements for this week. All right. Anything before we go? If not, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We have Senate bond initiatives. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Senator Elrith, Captain Avery Museum. Senator Elrith, Cobb Store, West River Market. Senator Elrith, Ancient City Lodge, number 175.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bond initiatives. They will be referred to the Committee on Capital. We do have a report. This is our first standing committee report, not a special committee. This is report number 1 from the Committee on Finance. The clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 191, Chair Finance Committee. Maryland Department of Commerce Transparency and Efficiency in Reporting Act, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance as the floor leader.
Thank you. Senate Bill 191 is a departmental bill that streamlines the report requirements of the Department of Commerce by repealing individual program reports and centralizing the reports within an existing consolidated report. Amendment 1 is technical. There are no fiscal impact. No opposition at the committee hearing. I move the amendment and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. The question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 191 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 205, Chair Finance Committee, Division of Workforce Development and Adult Learning, Apprenticeship and Training Council, Sunset Extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance as the floor leader.
Thank you. Senate Bill 205 is a departmental bill that extends the termination date of the Maryland Apprenticeship and Training Council and the designation of the Division of Workforce Development and Adult Learning as the designated state apprenticeship agency from July 1, 2024 to July 1, 2034. There are no amendments, no fiscal impact, no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Thought there might be a question. Chair recognizes the senator from the 21st district.
Actually, there isn't a question. I'd move to special order to the appropriate time.
Senator moves to special order the bill. Any objection to the senator's motion?
I guess we got time.
Hopefully. You never know. It's a long, till tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 219, Chair Finance Committee, Office of Cemetery Oversight, Sunset Extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you. Senate Bill 219 is a departmental bill that extends the termination date for the Office of Cemetery Oversight within the Maryland Department of Labor by 10 years to July 1, 2033. No amendments, no fiscal impact, no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 219 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. One moment, senators. All right, the desk is clear. Efficient day today. Does that mean that Finance has won the Goldenrod Award? No, not official. Okay. More special orders coming out of Budget and Tax, apparently. All right, let's go ahead and do committee announcements. Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance.
Finance Committee will meet for bill hearings at 1 p.m. And Mr. President, we've got on one bill, 26 people signed up, and then some wanting to do slideshows. So we might want to rethink being that liberal until we can go away from the virtual surrounding.
Thank you, Senator. Fair point. Time is one of our very few precious resources. So something we're going to want to make sure to be watching. We got to be efficient, but also make sure that public has access. So thank you for that observation, Senator. Chair recognizes the Chair of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. At 1 p.m. today, we'll have a briefing on the State Park Investment Commission report. We'll be joined by some members of Budget and Tax. That's at 1 p.m. There will be a bill that will follow up on the recommendations. And at 1:30, we'll have bill hearings. I believe we have 11 today at 1:30 for those bill hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Taxation.
Thank you, Mr. President. 1:30 we have a procurement briefing, and at 2:30 we have bill hearings.
1:30, 2:30. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes the Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today at 1 o'clock, we'll have a briefing from our Department of Corrections. We'll follow that with a voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Other committees, or delegations? If not, Chair recognizes the co-chair of the Protocol Committee. Uh-oh.
Excuse me. Thank you very much, Mr. President, members of the Senate. We have our student pages joining us this week, so I am going to announce them. And then if you get an opportunity tomorrow or Thursday, when we have pages in person here, make sure you introduce yourself. But today, joining us virtually, we have Rayhan Chowdhury from Prince George's County District 23A, Eleanor Roosevelt High School, Connor Clayton from Baltimore County District 5, Loyola Blakefield. We have Joaquin Contreras, Montgomery County District 20, Bethesda Chevy Chase High School, John Crook, Queen Anne's County District 36, Queen Anne's County High School, Toluwanimi Depo Ademo, Charles County District 28, North Point High School, Lucia Denmead, Howard County District 12, Howard High School, Sarah Hulskamp, Garrett County District 1A, Northern High School, Simran Kalia, Howard County District 13, Oakland Mills High School, Caroline Keller, Anne Arundel County District 33, Archbishop Spalding High School, Sarah Medwin, Montgomery County District 17, Poolsville High School, Nicholas Oakey, Baltimore County District 11, Towson High School, Hannah Park from Wicomico County District 37B, James M. Bennett High School, who was here with us last week, Jimmy Rios Ray, Prince George's County District 47A, International High School at Langley Park, Cheyenne Toma, St. Mary's County District 27C, Leonardtown High School, and Cooper Uncle Carroll County District 5, Manchester Valley High School. Please give these students a warm welcome. We appreciate them joining us virtually. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Senator, and please know that the pages are watching right now. I'm 100% sure of it. They have been so engaged, and we'll have a few in person tomorrow and, what is today? Oh, just Thursday this week, but you know, it is a little glimpse, a little eye into the people's business, but it's just such an incredible experience for them, and we're making it work. All right, any other announcements? Observations? Yes, Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Yes, just a point of personal privilege briefly.
Senator may proceed.
Too often we're standing up here talking about violence and the effects of violence in our state. And last night we heard about the tragedy in Montgomery County, the shooting and the student there, and it just breaks our heart. And I was listening on the radio last night and again on this morning, and I heard two more victims of homicide. And I just wanted to acknowledge them because I think it's senseless, loss of life. And just reading here, it says, Baltimore police are investigating after the general manager of Little Italy restaurant was killed in Fells Point. 2 hours later, a 51-year-old grandmother who was working delivering food was fatally shot during a robbery in Northeast Baltimore. Cheryl McCormick, described by her husband as caring and giving person, was shot and killed early Monday morning while working with DoorDash delivery. Her husband said, to walk up to somebody at that time of night, rob them, pull a gun on them for no reason, and shoot them is senseless. It is senseless and it should be curbed. And regarding the Little Italy, Mr. Patterson, the news report says, before the gunfire, surveillance shows Patterson getting out of his car, walking into a corner store. An employee said he purchased 2 items, talked a bit, and then walked out. Patterson is then seen putting his purchase in his trunk. He gets inside, tries to drive away. That's when a vehicle is shown rolling up next to his car. A man seen holding a gun jumps out, opens the driver's door, and shoots before the suspect's vehicle drives off. The deadly shooting has rocked the restaurant community in Little Italy. It's very sad, said the owner of Cafe Gia. I'm tired of seeing Fells Point's crime, Federal Hill crime, Little Italy crime, Canton crime. This is a Baltimore crime, and we have to do something about it. I feel hurt and frustrated because the same thing happens every day in the city. Everybody knows what the problem is, and nobody fixes it. And I could get up here every single day, because every single day there is a shooting or a homicide in our cities. And it's a sad commentary on the violence that we're seeing. And it's so bad that the Baltimore Sun actually has a website dedicated to tracking homicides. And just this year, the ages are from 16 to 51. And we know last year little children were shot. This is only the first month of the year. On the 25th of January, we have already had 28 murders. We had 2 yesterday, 4 on the 22nd, 1 on the 21st, 1 on the 20th, 4 on the 19th, 1 on the 18th, 1 on the 17th, 2 on the 15th, 2 on the 12th, 1 on the 11th, 3 on the 10th, 2 on the 9th, 1 on the 7th, 1 on the 5th, and 2 on New Year's Day. I've been down here long enough to have a little perspective on this. And year after year, we talk about this, and we talk about this, and we lament, and we honor people by the people who got killed. We need to take bold action, because what we're seeing is little action or ineffective action, because year after year we come back here and we see the same numbers. Children, men, women, victims. And I'm hoping this year is the year we can start to get these violent criminals off the street so we don't have to get up and talk about these people. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Look, these have been incredibly tragic situations, and just, the gentleman I knew from Little Italy, from La Scala, and it's just a horrific incident. Wish there was a single thing. Unfortunately, it's executive action at the end of the day that fights crime. That is the fact of the matter. Chair recognizes the senator from the 45th District, the chair of the Baltimore City Delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. Just wanted to recognize, while we're talking about public safety, from this point of view, there are actions that could be taken. There are actions that could have been taken during the 9 months while we weren't in the legislature. I'd like to draw the attention for my colleagues to the letter that was written by DLS just yesterday in reference to the Department of Parole and Probation. The letter was sent to all of us, so I know it's in all of our email boxes, but it talked about the shortages that are there at parole and probation right now. The more than 100 vacant positions that could have been taken up throughout the year, some form of incentivization to make sure that we address these types of issues. We know that a number of the folks that are committing the crimes are on parole or probation, And while we talk about passion and the crimes that's happening throughout the state of Maryland, because it's not just Baltimore City, this is an uptick across the state of Maryland, I would like to see that same type of passion when we're talking about state agencies that we have the oversight for, Mr. President, with over 100 vacancies, and we can do something right now about this situation. So I applaud folks that do concerned about public safety, but if you really care, if you really have that passion, let's talk about the things that we can do and work together on, and parole or probation is one of those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, general announcements. Further general announcements, Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance.
Also, in response to the concerns raised by our colleague, I just want to say that people are not being evil just because they were born that way. They were not. They have experienced neglect. They have experienced lack of education. They have gone to schools where we've got police officers in the schools instead of social workers and guidance counselors. There are people who simply, even after they have been incarcerated, as we all are acknowledging, don't have the ability to get a job because we don't have a plan to help them to do that. And many folks, and maybe if I were a business owner, I'd be prejudiced too, don't want to hire them. What will we do to make the environment into which people return, if they have been incarcerated, be one that will assist them in living a life free of crime? Obviously, if you got in trouble in the first place and you weren't well educated, you didn't have a good job, and you come out and there is nothing there but to either starve yourself to death or to misbehave again, I guess a person in that situation in some cases will finally decide there's nothing else to do. So we have the ability here on this floor to help put systems in place to save people from that in the first place. I'm thinking we are creating some people in the making right now. While we've had virtual school in Baltimore City, most of the city didn't have broadband, so the kids couldn't go to school. And then their parents were essential workers who had to go. In many cases, some of you listened with me for 11 hours in one hearing online to their parents who couldn't get their unemployment checks when their workplace closed down. Some of them don't have them yet. And the state of Maryland, our great state, which we love, does not have adequate follow-through yet. And many people's unemployment went to a crook somewhere else who was able to use the internet. And so we are all hearing from people whose children are taking care of grandma and the baby, can't go to school, doesn't have broadband, and doesn't have much of a future unless the rest of us do better. So I hope before this session is over, we focus on what we can do to make systems better for people that are not as well off as we are and who don't have the support systems on which we all rely. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. A lot
Mr.
of
President.
work to do. Yes, general announcements.
General announcement.
Chair recognizes Minority Whip.
Just like to, I understand we don't want to have a debate all day about this issue, but actually I think there's a lot of things we spend a lot of time on in this General Assembly that are not nearly as important as what we're talking about right now. And I just think it's really important to point out that, the points that were raised by both my colleague to my right and our other colleagues in here, there's all parts of it that we can recognize and understand. Parole and probation, it sounds like a great thing for us to work on together. But let's also be clear about something. We're in a triage situation. And it's right, it's not just the city of Baltimore, it's in surrounding areas, it's become a bigger issue as well. And the most important thing we have to do, we can talk about systems, we can talk about the breakdown of the failure of government that tried to provide services for decades, that it's been a miserable failure. We've invested hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, trillions of dollars nationally in policies that have failed. I don't mind, and I support the idea, we have all supported the idea of doing more investment in our communities, more and more. Even now, there are things that passed as part of a package a couple years ago that was supposed to get tougher on violent offenders, but also provide more resources. Well, the resources have started to flow, but we didn't do the other leg of the stool. Crime, people who are harming people, when there's a breakdown of society, when there's a breakdown of the idea that I don't have to follow the rules because I'm from a bad situation. I don't have to be afraid that the police are going to proactively come and investigate things in my community because they're just waiting for something to happen to react. It's huge issues. And we need to take strong action, and there are things we can take action legislatively to make things more clear in our laws so that we are seeing violent offenders have to stay in jail, be put in jail and stay in jail. My friend from Baltimore City talked about executive action. We need some executive action in our local authorities. Talk about the governor, but the governor doesn't prosecute crime in Baltimore City or Baltimore County or any other county in the state. So, I think the dialogue we've heard in response to what started with the minority leader, some of those points are, of course, correct, that people are in desperate situations and have had disadvantages in life. But that doesn't excuse what we need to do now to restore safety and restore the trust in the community that people can walk outside to their car after grocery shopping and not have to worry about being shot. So I think there's common ground, but we do need a recognition that we can't just keep talking about resources when we're in an emergency triage situation. And Mr. President, I know you don't want to keep going back and forth, but I do think it's important. We need to take action. It cannot wait. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, Senators, listen, hold on.
Mr. President.
Nope, Senators, just take a breath. Look, we're going to have a lot of debates about crime this session, I suspect. Safety is our top issue. It's our top issue. We're going to have lots of opportunities. We're in a moment of the end of session, in a slower week. We got a lot of bills that will be coming. There will be lots of chances to do this. Let's go ahead.
They started it. I just want to finish it, Mr. President.
Senator, you're out of order, Senator.
Mr. President, I'd like to speak.
Senator, unless it's a general announcement, let's move it along.
Mr. President, I'd like to speak. It's a general announcement.
Senator, Chair understands.
Mr. President, year after year,
Senator, you're
I've
out of
sat
order.
here in this chamber.
Senator.
And I've heard my colleagues from across the floor, and the dog whistling have to
you
stop.
Are out of order,
when we talk
Senator.
about crime in this state, we talk about Baltimore
Senator.
City and we talk about Prince George's County. We don't talk about the other counties. Every year we talk about Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and my colleagues said, we know what the problem is.
You are out
then
of
tell
order,
us
Senator.
what the problem is. Year after year, we've brought ideas to this floor that have been ignored. And they get a lot, and my colleagues get a lot of leeway in what they want to say.
Senator remains out of order.
When you talk about parole and probation, Mr. President, and government working for the people in this state, 30% of the victims, 30% of the perpetrators of crime in this state are under the jurisdiction of parole and probation and under their supervision. And so if we really want to tackle the problem and do something about it, we will step up and work with those people who have experience, who've put in ideas before this body. Mr. President, with all due respect, I hear you, but I'm tired of every single day. And if we want to have this debate every day for the rest of this session, I welcome that opportunity. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator, understand the passion. Certainly. I'm quite certain the Senator understands fully how much the Chair understands the passion and frustration. It is shared. It's the right time and the right place. We have lots of genuine and real work to do. This is a very emotional issue for good reason. This is the fundamental point of government. We are going to have this conversation many times. We have got to do it respectfully and thoughtfully and purposefully and intentionally because we've got to solve a problem. We have to. Let's leave it there. We've had a long day. We're going to have a long session in an important year. Other announcements. Chair recognizes Senator from the 35th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask for a point of personal privilege.
Senator, point of personal privilege, we're going to rule it out of order, Senator.
It's about a colleague who had passed some years ago. Just It's not about what was being debated a moment ago.
The Senator may proceed.
Thank you. As senators, we have the beautiful Senate lounge. If you ever happen to look, there's different pictures of past senators in there. One of them is of a mentor of mine, the late Senator Bob Hooper, who represented the district I represent, who passed away 14 years ago. And I'm fortunate to be friends with his family, a wonderful person. And also, when he passed away, at the time I was the chief of the local fire company and had the opportunity to lead the funeral procession by driving the fire truck through there. He was known for his wonderful spirit, and also, for folks who've been around a while, he was known for being Senator High Five. He'd go around high five the pages. Just really a great spirit and a wonderful gentleman. But he had one saying that I just wanted to leave you with that I thought was very, very appropriate for the day and age we live in. Senator Hooper used to say, "You never stand as tall as when you reach down to help out your fellow man in need." So I just wanted to leave the body with that today. 14 years ago, he passed away.
Thank you for that observation, Senator. Appreciate those thoughts. Thank you. All right. Any further general announcements? Chair recognizes Senator from District 7. What purpose, Senator Rise?
Just announce a passing of a family member, if that's okay.
Senator may proceed. Apologies.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I was not here last night, and unfortunately I won't be here tomorrow because my wife's grandmother took a bad spill on Sunday night and passed away. Edna Slusher was 93, and as sad as we are when somebody passes, at 93, you know what, she lived a great life, and she should be proud. And it was that woman that went with her granddaughter and her granddaughter's boyfriend, who they'd been dating for 5 years, to a little restaurant down here on Main Street called Chicken Ruth's on one, I think it was a Tuesday morning. She'd come down to C-Session. We're having breakfast, and she looked over at her granddaughter's boyfriend and said, "When are you going to marry her?" It's been 5 years. And I guess I looked at her and said, "You're right, maybe we should." And I left that breakfast engaged. So, it was Edna that did it. And if she had not done it, I would not have two incredible kids. So I thank her every day, and unfortunately, she is gone and with her husband in heaven. So, Mr. President, I just ask that we adjourn in Edna Slusher's honor. Thank you.
Senator, without objection, absolutely we will. And thank you for sharing that story. Powerful woman, powerful woman. I hope your wife is holding up. All right, let's go ahead and do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President?
All right, has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber, the quorum being present, Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Wednesday, January 26th at 10 a.m., adjourning today in memory of Edna Schlesser.
Without objection, so ordered. Stay safe, everyone. See you tomorrow.